Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
I'm Mac.
And I'm Pepper.
And today we're going over our top 10 new to us games in 2023. It could be games from 2023, but I think maybe a good chunk of them are probably prior to 2023.
That's right, Zach.
Just because, we don't play all. I don't know if we'd even be able to put together a top 10 list of 2023 games for us. We usually don't have all the brand new games for that year.
Not all of them.
Not
just
all of them.
Some.
Just some.
Right, dear?
Yes, just a few.
Mm-hmm.
But then, alongside this, we are doing a giveaway of one of the 2023 games that has made it on my list, spoiler, and that is Sunrise Lane.
Oh.
So we'll be giving away a copy of that. So comment.
And I hope it's not your
Honestly,
number one, otherwise you really messed up.
I might have really messed up. But comment on this video. We'll have a giveaway video describing it more in detail. And then Pepper and I will be doing an additional 10 games we liked that were new to us this year. So I think that will be included as well. What does that say about Michaela? 2023 was not a great year.
If it makes you feel any better, I was kind of struggling to come up. I could probably stretch it to 20, but I don't know if it really would be worth it.
Yeah, we'll see if she gets involved in that one or not. But we can start with my number 10.
Okay.
And that's because this won't be on anyone else's list. I'm pretty confident. And that is Power Plants. And we have the wooden kind of deluxe version. It was still I think it was like $30 or something. I think it looks like a very good production for the price. It's one of those that reminds me of Honey Buzz when we're talking about actual production cost, best cost to production value. And this is one that I really like at 2 players specifically, because it really feels like maybe a little bit of a tug of war, kind of back and forth, where you have the different colored pieces that kind of all go into each other, and they have different numbers on them, and those values kind of matter for breaking ties. And it's area control. You're putting out little sprites, and depending on the color of tile that you're adding to kind of this larger middle board, you take some special ability. You can either take an action that activates all the tiles around it with weaker actions, or the color tile that you just placed with a stronger action. And I think that just works really well. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, but I think I'm kind of the only one that really enjoyed it. So.
Don't you hate it when your gaming partner latches onto a game that you just are like, I don't even need that in my collection? Sorry,
I was hoping Jesse would like it more.
I was excited because that was in your hotness for a while. I think you had it tagged on your Instagram, and I thought it was going to be a great one, but I was a bit let down. It's decent, but I was let down.
Wow. They're wrong.
No, we're not. 2-1. We win.
Wow.
My number 10, because I want to save Mac for last.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because I don't know.
Mine is mind-blowing.
Yeah, I think so. My 10, I don't think it's going to make it on Mac's list. I don't know if it'll make it on anyone's, but this is a game that we just played the other day, and that is a very epic, wild, cinematic game, Thunder Road Vendetta. And this one is pretty much Mad Max, the board game, where you each have I think each of you has 3 cars, and you're just racing them through this kind of desert terrain with all kinds of hazards on the road and obstacles that you can run into, and you can fly off the map and bump into other cars, sending them flying, maybe dealing damage, shooting other cars with your cars, and helicopters that you're putting out there, and pretty much trying to get to the finish line first, or eliminate all the other players. And this one was just delivered everything that I wanted from the game. It's a very approachable rule set, very easy to play, as well as just delivering all of those epic, wild moments.
Yeah, it definitely delivers that.
Definitely not if you're a heavy Euro gamer, this is not one for you.
No. There's a lot of luck involved.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
I was shocked because it was like, oh, we don't have to pay anything to use the helicopter. We can just use it. Okay. A dice, but yeah.
And you liked using it a lot.
I did.
Yes.
I did. Good pick, Pep. All right, my number 10 is also one.
Are you saying it's a better pick than Power Plants?
Ooh, I don't know.
Wow.
Up against one another, I don't know that I want to choose Red Magic Third
Well, I guess
Door.
that explains which one's on your list. None. Sorry.
No. So my number 10 is also one I learned just recently, but it made a pretty good impression on me and one I'd like to get to the table again and again here. And that is Catherine, Cities of the Tsarina. And I think we did a first imp of that. I don't know when that's up.
I'm guessing that will come out probably quite a bit after this.
After
so
this.
eventually it will come out.
So
But maybe
make
we'll remember that and
Yeah.
put that out.
Well, make sure you
January.
like and subscribe. That way you don't miss it. And hit that little notification bell to get our thoughts on that. But it's a great game with some unique mechanisms with cards and hand management while also scoring points. So kind of a really straightforward, probably middle to lower end of the road of a Euro game. But I just thought it was really fun and unique in the way you kind of plan out your turns or do your actions. So.
Hmm. Yeah, it's quite simple. It's very snappy. Quick, snappy turns it has. for
We
sure.
like those. We
It's
like
so
those.
quick and snappy that I was even, like I would not realize. Like I was already
he
kind
was
of
going
like
too fast.
working.
That never happens.
Yeah, it does not. So it is quite fast. But that was at 2 players, so
Yeah.
maybe it would feel a little bit different if there were more. But I would almost be into the next round before I had done a piece
Had
of
to
it.
slow 'em
Something
down.
that was actually would have helped me. So I was already planning with less stuff. So yeah,
It's okay.
it's a good choice. Good choice. And my number 9 might be. You have not played it.
Okay.
But it might be on Pepper's list. I'm not sure. And this one is one that I've only played on Board Game Arena. I think the production of the game looks like it could be fun, but I think the management of it probably just works better in Board Game Arena. Just a little easier going, and that is Earth. And this was one that I like quite a bit. I know a lot of people have, like, I don't know, probably liked Ark Nova the most in kind of the recent games where there's tons of different cards, all of the cards are different, and it's kind of got more of a nature-y theme in a way. I guess that one's more of a zoo, but kind of the same difference. And I just think Earth has done it just in such an interesting way, where it kind of matters which order you're putting your cards out in and kind of how they're set up, because you activate everything from left to right, top to bottom. And it's one of those, like, Roll, Race for the Galaxy, Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition, Great Wall, where someone will pick an action and then everyone else will get, so they'll get like a better version of it, sort of, and then everyone else will get kind of a smaller version of it. So you got that, which I always really like in games. I think that's one of those really cool mechanisms. And this one, it works really well. There's a lot of different scoring opportunities in this one. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I don't know. Is it going to be...
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
We'll see. But no, I really, really enjoyed this one.
Yeah,
And it has made me debate getting it, but I'm like, I don't know, it might just be a little bit too much to manage. And
it does
on
it
the
so
table.
well. It really
Yeah.
does it so well. My number 9 is not Earth, but it does take place on Earth, or at least we think, because there's some mysteries maybe going on with this place. And this place is an island. It is my island. And we just recently finished up the legacy version of this, which is 24 little games of it, and some parts of that legacy I do prefer to other parts. And I'm not sure when we'll post our kind of full review, but you and I did do one of those, and hopefully get that out. Maybe it'll be out already, possibly not. I think that's higher on the priority to release, so pretty soon if it's not out already. But I really enjoyed it. It's a very approachable, another quick one, because it's simultaneous, the core of the game, which I can talk about that, is you flip a card, and that reveals one of the tiles. Everyone has an identical set of tiles, so it's kind of like a bingo thing. You flip a card and everyone has to place that tile onto their map and score in different ways depending on what part of the campaign you are playing. but usually based on what colors are on those tiles, those pieces, usually trying to create groups or connect different things. I just thought it was a really snappy, really quick, approachable, pretty simple rule set, at least at the start. But yeah, in that forever game, because you can play it after the campaign. And I looked at that version, I think that's probably the sweet spot for the game and what it should be. So I'm looking forward to continuing playing it. Just a really solid one.
Good pick. Good pick.
Good pick.
All right, my number 9. I am very glad I like at least a little bit to make on my top 10 anyway, because when Zach brought home the deluxeified version in a big box of this game, I was like, I haven't even played this game. How do you even know if it's worth getting this on our shelf? But he was like, it's Castles of Burgundy. How could you not like it? And I was like, that doesn't do anything for me. But luckily I did play it, and my number 9 is Castles of Burgundy, which is a very fun game. It's been around for a very long time, so I won't bore you with the details of the game, but essentially it's tile placement. And, I don't know, dice worker, I don't know what those are.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I don't know if you call it action selection, but
Yeah.
you're just rolling 2 dice, picking up tiles, and then placing those tiles out onto your own board. And it's kind of a set collection type thing because you've got 5, 6 different types of tiles, and they all kind of do different things. So a lot of fun. It's a Stefan Feld game, so it's kind of a point salad. You're getting chunks of points from this, chunks of points from that, some end game points. Just a lot of fun. But yeah, it's been around a while. So I think it's in the Board Game Geek Top 100. So
There you go. Got another one in the 100 checked off.
there you go. My number 8, I believe, is a 2023 game.
Oh.
There's one we got at Gen Con,
Oh,
and it is the
boy.
one that we are giving away. And
Oh,
it's
shoot.
Sunrise Lane. And this one is from Reiner Knizia, and yeah, it's a very simple. It's another very simple game. Quick, snappy turns. We're going back to that again. It's kind of closest I can think of. It kind of makes me think of Ticket to Ride, because you're getting kind of this hand of cards, and there's like 4 different color. I think it's 4 different colors, or is it 5 different colors that you can get. And then you're just putting out these little buildings, and there's kind of these square quadrants on the board that you're putting out buildings, and they'll have numbers from 1 to 5 on them. And if you play like 2 green cards onto this green 3, you'll get 2 times the 3 for like 6 points. And then if the next one after that is like a blue, and you also have a blue card, you can play that, and then you'll get the points for that one. And you kind of just keep going. You're trying to kind of create a large run of things. Sometimes you're trying to create taller buildings in certain locations on there. It's all really, really quick. The game, it plays in, I don't know, less than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's really quick. It's a really fast game. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty heavily luck dependent, I would say. Just, I mean, there's some thinking to it, but I mean, if you're getting a lot of good cards, or a lot of the same color card, and you get one of those big spaces, that's a lot of points.
Yeah.
So it could come down to that a little bit, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. My number 8 is a crossover already, and maybe it shouldn't be on the list because I have played this game one time on the app before because we did not own it, but now we do own a very deluxe version of it, and that is Castles of Burgundy. And this one, when I first ever heard of it, and I started going through the rule set, because it was a bit intimidating, because I think everything on the top 100 was a little scary back in the day. But then I was going through it, and it just felt so simple. Like, here's your dice. The values either correspond to getting a tile from over here, or putting a tile from here onto your map. And that was so simple and so approachable. Quick, snappy turns for a very big, what feels like a very big, long, heavy game. Right away on that play on the app, it did feel like it was a little long, like maybe a round too long, but now, after playing it in person a couple times, I think it's probably about the perfect length. I feel like you complete about just the right amount that you should in the game. It's always very satisfying, very rewarding, and still very approachable for being one of the bigger games in our collection. And I would think if this was new to you this year, this would possibly be your number one, would certainly be a three-way crossover. Unless you do consider it new to you this year, and I've screwed everything up.
I might. We'll see.
Oh boy. All right, well, my number 8 is one that I've played a few times. One completely wrong. One time we played completely wrong, is what I meant to say there. But it's been fun, and that is Auriculum.
Ooh, oh, yes.
Yes, the one time we played it terribly, terribly wrong.
While a game of Castle of Burgundy was happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a crossover.
Hey, look at that, kind of. Auriculum is just kind of a fun game where I don't even know how to describe what this game is, but essentially there are tiles that you can put out into your own little board play area, kind of, and you're trying to get different terrain types, and those correspond to different things that you can get. And on top of that, there's monsters that you can fight. You're essentially, I think, some kind of Roman or Greek hero and are trying to get just 5 points. But that can take a little bit of time, and you can only have one Titan, Jesse.
Yes. Yep.
By defeating Titans and monsters, building these, I think they're like kind of palace-style things on different landscapes. It's a lot. It's not like a lot, but it's a decent amount for what you're doing,
Yeah.
and it kind of seems like you should be setting yourself up for some more engine building,
Yeah.
but there really isn't that much. It's kind of a race to kind of
Yeah,
just.
it can be pretty fast because there's
Yeah.
tiles. Like, oh, that's great. I'm going to get that building, and that'll help me get more of these. But, I mean,
Yeah.
it comes by a lot quicker when you're cheating like I did, but it does go by very quickly.
Yeah, and you're like, you have to, like, it's one of those games where it feels like every move, almost, except for, like, the first 2, maybe, have to kind of count.
Yeah.
But I like that about the game, and it has, like, a way that you fight monsters that's pretty straightforward, which I also enjoy. I'm not a huge combat fan, but I feel like this game does it well.
I like that when you lose, your guy stays out
Stay
there
there.
for the next one,
Yes.
next time around. Yeah.
That is nice. Hippolytes or whatever they're called. So I don't know. It's just the production is really fun on it. It's just a good gameplay. It's probably just one of my favorite by. Can't remember.
Bruno.
Bruno. That's
Ooh, that's another top 10 we got to make.
yeah. Yes. So Auriculum.
Good pick. Good pick. My number 7 is going to just be a one-way crossover, I believe. I don't think it'll be on anyone else's list, and that is coming from Martin Wallace, the guy who also currently holds the number 1 game on Board Game Geek, but it is not that game. It is Anno 1800.
Oh really?
Yeah, I really liked Anno 1800, and I don't know if it would have made my list, but I recently got to play it again. And I'd only played it one time before that, so it wasn't like I hated it or something and I wouldn't make my list, but I remembered liking it. It had been a while since I'd played it. And got back to it recently, and I'm just like, it's a lot of fun, and I feel like it's one with more plays it would become even better and better, because you start to understand how you can kind of utilize other players' things in ways that you don't really, like the first time you play it, you're like, oh, I don't want to give them you're not giving them a gold, you're giving it from the supply a gold, so you don't have to pay them a gold. But it's just like, I'm not going to give them that. That just seems like I'm helping them too much. But in the last game I played, I was just willy-nilly throwing it all as much as I could. I was like, I'm going to use as many of theirs as I can. And that it's just a lot of fun. There is part of me sometimes that thinks like, I don't know that I'm actually strategically planning this outside of like looking at, so you're trying to get rid of this hand of cards, and they just kind of have like different technologies that you need to either use your own or use a combo of your own and play other players or just other players' stuff even to complete the cards, and you want to completely run out of cards to end the game essentially. And sometimes some of those items, it's like, okay, well, I've got like 3 or 4 cards with that same item, so I should probably try to buy that myself if I can, and be able to use it. But outside of that, I don't know that there's really like a strategy of knowing, like, as you're going to possibly gain more cards throughout the game. It's not
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I planned for this or something. So that part
Yeah.
kind of sometimes to me feels like, I don't know how
Yeah.
much strategy actually goes
Yeah.
into it, but it's just a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
just like kind of the tech tree sort of feel. It's not quite that, but it kind of has that feel.
That's really cool. It's such a unique end game trigger with those cards.
Mhm.
And you're just constantly drawing more, and you just feel like, oh, the goalpost just keeps moving back, and you want to complete them all. And it can feel a little abrupt once someone does, because it does feel like you just start to get going. That was just the one play that I felt like, my next 2 turns were going to be really, really good. But I think, with more plays, it's just going to get better and better. My number 7 is one that I have not played in person. It is one that we played on Board Game Arena, but it is not a crossover on Earth. It is, again, probably still taking place on Earth. It is Acropolis. And this is the one that you did, I think you guys did play in person. I think Zach and Carson got a copy of it. But I've only played online, and you say it's still really good. You were maybe slightly worried about
Scoring.
possibly the scoring and keeping track of that, but you didn't have a problem with that in person. I still would much prefer getting to see the multipliers add up as you place
fair.
each individual tile. I think that's one of the most satisfying parts of it, just seeing that jump up by like 15 points or 20 points every tile you place. But yeah, it's just a really, really awesome game as you're placing tiles out, and there's probably like 5 different colored tiles, and each one scores a little differently. Like the blue ones, you're trying to create a big group of them, and the red ones want to be on the outside of the thing, the purple ones want to be surrounded, different things like that, and you are multiplying the amount of tiles that qualify for the scoring condition by the amount of stars or multipliers that you get for that color. And one of the most interesting parts is the layers that you can create, so you can place the tiles on top of other tiles, and those ones will actually count be multiplied by what level they are on. So you could you don't get too high. It's not like it's crazy, like, oh, this one's on the 7th level. Usually, I can't see, like 4 would
3
be
or
pretty
4
amazing.
probably.
If I
Pretty
don't see getting above 4. I don't know if I have gotten 4, but even just a 2 and a 3, each one of those just feels awesome to get that.
Yeah.
Not a fan, Mac? Not a fan?
No
Wow.
Wow. I thought you liked it.
I think as I get more and more into board games, I can slowly tell like there are like little things that if a game has it, I'm probably not gonna like it. And I think the stacking is one of them because I don't like Kuzco's. I'm not really a big fan of number 9. Acropolis didn't really hit it for me, so I'm like, there are just these little things you start to notice that you're just like, yeah, no, I don't really like that. So glad you like it, Jesse. Glad we didn't buy it.
Yet.
We have not.
Okay.
You did not have knowledge of us having bought it yet.
You can play it on BGA. I don't know why you need it.
That's
in
true.
person. Yeah.
Well, now that I know you hate it, now
I don't hate it.
dodged a bullet.
I just don't know that it's fun. I'd say, hey, let's play that game.
Ever.
Well, my number 7, I think it's probably just going to be on my list. I don't think you've played it, and I don't know that you liked it all that much in comparison to some of these ones that you've been saying. And that is one of my, like, 2 crunchier games on my list, and that is Expeditions, which is, like, Psy-esque, but not Psy. And I don't know, we played it a couple of times and we haven't gotten it back, but I thought it was a good spin, I guess, kind of on Psy. And it's definitely not as intense as Psy. So, I don't know, I like the way you get the cards. I like going out and exploring with your enormous mech. It's pretty simplified, but it has some of those turns and things that kind of work together and chaining events kind of things that were unique, and you can get different colored meeples and all of these things. with a special ability, which is always fun depending on which character you take. So I don't know, it's just kind of unique. You're just kind of spreading out and getting what's on the tiles and trying to complete. I think it's still, is it 4 goals in Expeditions, or is it still
I
the
think it's
6?
something like that. 4.
Yeah, so you're still trying to reach some goals, so it's still a race game, if you will, which I think it was fun. I could see the tiles don't really ever mix up. The
They
ones
change
on the
spots and they're
yeah.
upside down, but
the ones
Yeah,
on the
you don't.
farthest end are always going to be on the farthest end. But
Mhm.
there's only 9 of them or 6 of them, so they're always going to be
Mhm.
out there. So, but I can imagine Jamie probably will be adding tiles to it maybe if he does an
know.
expansion for it. But that's the only thing with it. And so, but I had a lot of fun when we were playing it, and I enjoyed kind of the puzzle of it. So
that did not make my list. But yeah, it was fine, but it did not live up to the Scythe. Like, I really, really love Scythe, and yeah, it was quite a bit below Scythe, I think, personally. But
You guys.
it also plays. I think this one's probably better at the lower player count.
Oh, yeah. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of Scythe. Do you think, and I haven't played Expeditions, do you think it could have possibly made my top 10?
What was your number 10 again?
My 10 was Thunder Road.
It wouldn't have beat that. I don't think so.
No, I
Not
think
for how
it-
much you were saying you like Thunder Road. I don't think.
I think
you would.
it's more approachable than Scythe.
Yeah.
So I think it's more in
You
your
might.
wheelhouse
You'd probably
than
like it
Scythe.
more than you like Scythe, but I don't think you would. I don't think.
I
it
don't know
would
if
be
I
your
would
top
have loved it.
10. Maybe your top 20
It's
at the end,
it's
but
still a Euro game.
Yeah.
but no, it's good.
I
It's
must
got a good
chuck
production.
dice.
I think the worst part was when I was first hearing about it and watching the videos and stuff. I was really excited about it because I was thinking a lot of it sounded really cool, but then in actual practice, it just felt a lot. I don't
Does-
know. For some reason, it felt a lot simpler than Scythe.
I guess. Does it feel like it's a map like Scythe, or does it feel like these are actions?
Their actions.
Their actions,
Okay.
and then they can be like blocked and stuff. I think that's one of the things I didn't love, but yeah, I think that's why it probably plays best at 2 or 3. I think otherwise it's going to be way too crowded.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
just
know
like
how
it
it
because it
worked.
was way too easy. I was playing my heart out, trying to win, like every time that we played, and you still just would be like, win, and I'm like, I don't even see that you're trying as hard as me.
It was probably because I got lucky.
yeah, something like that.
I
but-
think that's what it was.
So I'm like, he doesn't even have to try. So no wonder it's not in your top 10. You're just like, meh.
Wow. No, it was good. But yeah, my number 6 is a crossover. It's one that was just mentioned, and it is on Board Game Arena. It is Acropolis.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this one is an awesome game. I really love it. Even though the first time we were playing it, I misunderstood what Pepper had said, and I thought the multipliers worked where
On
so
the layers,
there's-
too.
on the layers. So I thought there's the tiles that are actually being scored in those colors, and then there's the actual multipliers themselves. I thought if you put the multipliers on higher levels, that also made them more valuable, but it does not. So those can be on the bottom, and you don't have to worry about that. And they also do not have to be part of the group. Like in blue, I thought it had to be part of the group, so I had split my blue.
I thought that the first time too.
And I was thinking, oh, this is going to be great. And you didn't tell me the whole game. How did you not notice?
Pretty sure I wanted the win. Yeah, that's the only time that I can get a win is if I played it before you.
But no, after learning how it was played, I've played it times after that, and I really love how it all works, how it comes together. Feels like a lot of fun, and I'm always trying now to get some of those that I have a high multiplier stacked up onto a third level at least, because like you said, I think a fourth would probably be about as high as you can go, and that's even you're going to have to be probably pushing for that. But maybe people that are professionals at Acropolis
we get to level
are
12.
like, oh, we have 4. You have no chance if that's the highest you're getting. Maybe, but no, I really like the game. Everything Pepper said about it.
My next one, my 6, is also a Board Game Arena game that we have played and have not played the physical version. And that is a 2-player cooperative game. Do you know it?
Oh,
because
yeah.
I played it with
Yep.
you,
I
and
do.
you know, together
At
as
first, I was thinking Paint the Roses. I'm like, I don't think that's 2-player. I'm shocked it says hi.
This is Sky Team, which is, I think, one's the pilot, one's the co-pilot, or I think it's pilot to co-pilot. I was
Mhm.
thinking for a second that maybe you were on the ground and then the pilot, but whatever it is, you're teaming up to land this plane and prepare it for landing. So you're doing all the different things, trying to keep the plane level, the wings, because you do not want to come in like this and do a little cartwheel action. You want to not be going way too fast to overshoot the runway. You don't want to be way too slow to hit the ground before you even get to the airport.
Flying into other planes.
Flying into other planes, and then you have to get the landing gear down. You have to check all these boxes on the
Mhm.
sides, and I really love that it's split like half of the duties to one player, half to the other, and you have hidden information of your die rolls. And then you kind of allocate them to the actions that you're going to do, which you aren't supposed to communicate during that section. I think before you roll your dice, you can communicate what you want to achieve that round.
Mhm.
But otherwise, it's very limited communication, and I just thought it was so satisfying when it did work out. I feel like we played it like 3-4 times.
Mhm.
And we just got better and better, and as we understood the game more, and it's just very satisfying to be like, that's right, I knew you would do that, and sometimes it goes the other way, and it's like, oh my goodness,
What were
we
you
are
thinking?
never going to land this plane. And yeah, they have a bunch of different scenarios that introduce more and more kind of complicated and difficult obstacles that are just really, really cool. Got to do pretty much tricks in the air with how you want the plane tilted to be able to traverse, I don't know, I imagine mountains and things like that. You got the planes that you have to clear out of the way, which we
May or
You know,
may not.
we may
call
have
it shooting them down.
shooting them down is thematically what we gave that.
Getting them out of the way so we can land.
Yes, so we're playing a war game here. But yeah, just a
Maverick and Goose, apparently.
really cool. It pretty much is. This
Yeah.
is a Top Gun game.
Which one of you is Goose?
Who do you think?
They don't want to know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That is
cool.
a great pick.
All right. My number 6 is, I think it is a 2023 game, I think. And one we got, I think, early on this year. So we've been playing it kind of throughout the year. You guys played it without me recently, and I was very upset by this.
Space Base isn't this year.
It is Wayfarers of the South Tigris, which is the new game by Shemi Shem. And it is kind of a heavier, I guess, Paladin-esque level if you've played any of the
Garfield games.
Garfield games. Thank you. I was like, what are they called? And in this one, it's pretty much dice driven, and there's a lot of cards and tracks that you're going on, just to kind of give you a feel. I have a lot of fun with it because there's a lot of set collection, which is really fun. Something to try and work towards. Sometimes I feel like a lot of games you just aren't really always sure what you're working for, other than like points, which are obscure sometimes. But this one, the set collection, what you score is pretty limited, so it kind of gives you like that focused drive towards what you need to collect, and I think that's very helpful, and especially in heavier games like this. So. It's pretty rare that I really, really enjoy a heavier game, but Wayfarers, I feel like, has just gotten easier the more I've played it, and it is intuitive once you kind of go through your first or your second turn, and that, I think, is big, as opposed to needing an entire game to kind of figure out where you're going. A couple of turns in, you can kind of get a feel for what you need to do, and I think that's very helpful. So I just really enjoyed Wayfarers, so my number 6.
Good pick. That is a good pick. We may be coming back to it. We'll see.
You're
will
oddly
see.
quiet over there, husband.
Yes. Well, my number 5 is a cooperative game, but it is in a series of games that we already have a lot of.
Wow.
And this is one that you have not played yet, Maggie. I can't believe it.
Oh, really?
I don't believe so. Unless you did. The game is right behind you. Other side!
Oh. I thought you were going to say Isle of Cats.
Oh, no. Unmatched Adventures, Tales to Amaze. Yeah, this is one that lived up to exactly what it promised, I think. And that's all I really wanted from it.
And
It's
that's
just
all I'm going to say.
that's all I'm gonna say.
Can you play any character, or do you have to play the characters
You
in
can
the
play
box?
any
You
character.
can play any character. Some don't work that well, but you can probably house rule something to, make it kind of work. But like Sherlock
Yeah.
Holmes doesn't work. What's another one that Black Panther doesn't really work? But you can come up with kind of your homebrew things to make it work. Most characters do work, with varying levels of success. Some probably are maybe more overpowered towards
As
certain
is
things
always
than
the
others.
case with Unmatched.
Yes. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can face the Mothman or the Alien Invaders. It's kind of two totally different game styles that you're fighting against. And Pepper and I have played this quite a bit actually already.
We've done a lot of crazy, crazy things.
We have done some crazy, crazy things. Even with just the map itself.
Yeah.
Not including any of the actual Mothman or Alien Invaders. So we'll see if anything like that ever hits the channel, but I don't know. That might be too crazy. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. The characters, I would say, I'm kind of interested. I mean, they all have their own interesting thing, like all Unmatched characters. But the ones I'm probably most interested in are Tesla and Golden Bat. The other ones I'm not as interested in, but I don't really know much about them.
Yeah.
Not that I know anything about Golden Bat, but just something about him with his huge cape just gets me interested in him. And Skull Head, he can team with. There's some people he can team with, that's for sure. And yeah, I just really like it, and I can't wait until they come out with Unmatched Adventures 2.
Just got this one in. He's like,
More!
where's the sequel?
I need more!
I am looking forward to that too. My number 5 is not a crossover. It is a crossover in that it is a cooperative game. It is a
Wow.
cooperative game based on a Netflix television show. Which I don't know if you can even call it a television show. And that is
Squid Games?
also right over here, down here, not on screen. And that is Stranger Things Upside Down. This one is from Cool Mini or Not, creators of Cthulhu Death May Die, one of each of our. I don't think it's up there for Mac, although you might have you played it end of last year, which was after we did our top 10 that year, so you might
It might be
actually...
your number one. It might be your number one.
actually on this list,
Okay,
because
number
anything I
one.
play after we shoot this, I put on my
Okay,
number
so
one.
So
expect
it
to
might
hear
be
that
number
coming
one.
up.
It's
Yeah.
coming
Soon.
We'll talk about it more then.
Soon.
Yeah. But I absolutely love Cthulhu Death May Die. Love Stranger Things. I had just binged through the seasons 2, 3, and 4 when this was announced, and I was like, oh my god. Cthulhu Death May Die with Stranger Things theme? Instant buy. And as I saw kind of more of it, seemed more tame, like because it has a board with printed actions, and Cthulhu Death May Die is just kind of a bunch of, it's more of a map and just wild things going on, chaos, and this seemed a bit tame, just with production-wise what it looked like it was going to be. But then, so my expectations were lowered, finally got the game, got more and more excited about it, and played it, and I, as you can see, was not disappointed. It exceeded my expectations. It delivered all of the cinematic, epic, stand-up moments without even having to roll a fistful of dice. Just a flip of the card or flip of little tokens for these, I guess, the power of the unknown baddies at these locations, and you're kind of playing numbered cards to try to outnumber those face-down tokens, and I didn't know if that seems pretty abstract, just tokens versus cards, but it really, really does work, and it does, there are a lot of effects in the game that do somehow feel thematic.
Yeah, that is a good choice. I feel like if I played it maybe a couple more times, it could have maybe made the list, but yeah, I really liked my plays of it.
And I cannot wait, because this covers seasons 1 and 2, needs seasons 3 and 4.
Oh boy.
Come on.
See if they don't fail you. Alright, my number 5 is... I hate eating crow. I don't do it very often, but I told Zach not to buy this one at Gen Con. I was like, don't buy it. We've already got
Oh yeah.
18 games.
And then Pepper was the devil on his shoulder,
yeah,
telling him to get
he's
it.
like, Pepper wants it. I'm like, okay, show it to me. I don't believe it. Cause
You guys played Revive without me?
you just text him just to say, do you want this game? Because all I need is one person to say yes, and I will buy it. Even though we watched a demo and I was like,
Grandpa, you want me to get this game?
I watched the demo, I was like, no, I don't think so. But then you guys played it and liked it a lot and said it was so quick. So I played it and I do really like it. It is Sunrise Lane.
The giveaway game.
The giveaway game. So number 5 is Sunrise Lane, which I have just enjoyed. Zach explained this in full detail about 15 minutes ago, maybe 20. So you can jump
For
back
way
there
too long.
if you need
My
another one.
explanation was longer than the game takes to play.
Probably,
So.
yeah, a little bit. But it is really fun. It is well produced, which I love. And it is just, it's really unique and quick and snappy. So.
It's a good choice. My choice is also a really good choice, and it could, honestly, it's my number 4, right? Guys?
Yep, you're
We're already
at
to
4.
number 4. Holy smokes! It's probably been a lot longer than I think it has been. But my number 4, I think, could even be my number 1, really.
Wow,
I've
solid year for him.
I've only played it once.
Oh my goodness.
And if I played it more, then I would have
Oh, I
found
think
out
I know
if
what
it was
this
going
is.
to be higher.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this one
Cult
is
of the
from
New.
one of my top publishers.
More
top
like
favorite
Cult
designers.
of the Shem.
Cult of the Shem.
Top publisher.
Scholars of the South Tigris. So the second game in the South Tigris trilogy. And I just really love this one. And this one you're translating, what you're supposedly doing is translating from some language back to Arabic, and you're using there's these different translation cards, and it'll go from Chinese to Greek to Arabic, or something like that. You'll have all these chains. You're going to have to pay these different translators. I really like how that works. That probably the most thematic feeling thing Garfield has ever had in a game.
Yeah. That one part
Not
of it.
saying much, but that one part
little
of it. That one part of it.
All the rest is classic, themeless Garfield.
Yes, so don't worry. They haven't gone crazy on us. But they added a little bit in there. They're giving us a taste of Ameritrash.
And it's the worst part of the game.
What? That is one of my
way
favorite
too
parts.
confusing.
That's one of my favorite parts
We
of the
need a
game.
play raid.
Wow, that is one of my favorite parts of the game. She is so wrong. She couldn't be more wrong. I would take a small, light to medium weight game of kind of something just like that. I really like that
It
part
is
of
called Dominoes, Zach.
the game. Wow.
That makes more sense than this.
Wow. But then it's also got tracks on tracks on tracks that you're going up, and every other space of those tracks is giving you an instant benefit, and every other one is giving you a benefit based on whether or not during your turn you played an action card relating to that type, which I think works pretty well. It does trigger in a certain order. I don't know if that matters all that much, kind of in some circumstances, but overall, I would say that part of it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. This trilogy was focused on dice, and I think this one uses them better than Wayfarers does. It implements it better. There's kind of, I don't know, more ways that you can manipulate them and use them.
Oh, you can manipulate these dice. All right.
You can manipulate them because different actions you can take either require a certain color die, or a certain sum of die, or a certain sum and color of die.
Yeah.
You get different actions based on those.
You can
And
use up to 2 dice and as
You
many
use multiple
workers
dice to
as you want,
manipulate,
of all
and
different
you-
colors and
oh
numbers.
boy, is there a lot to explain. But
Yeah.
it is a great game. It's one of my favorites. I think Tom Vassell said it was not a great score, and he couldn't be more wrong. This is greatness.
Yeah.
My number 4 could also be my number 1. And
Also Scholars?
I think it was for a while in my kind of ranking app that I have throughout the year. But just as I was putting it together today, I ended up dropping it down because, as well, I've only played this one time. But that one play, particularly the last round of the game. And it's kind of got an area control aspect to it. And I'm usually not a big fan of it, but that is Ankh, Gods of Egypt. And I just really love, it gives me feels of Cusco, so now Mac is interested. As you are fighting for control of these different split areas on the board to score pretty small amounts of points, but each one really, really does matter. And just the way that you continue to then split up these areas with the camels and create new. That's not sounding interesting.
Nope.
Trying to sneak in with your different miniatures, awesome produced miniatures, to gain control of these, and the card play when you do have the combat for each of the locations in order. You have identical sets of cards, which is like 5, 6 different types of cards, so you know what they played and what they have. And the thinking and outthinking, we're getting back to it. Feels like a while since I've talked about how much I love to outthink opponents and think what they are going to play. And this one just does it in an amazing way. And that last round we were taking analysis paralysis. We were both wearing our shirts and hats of that. We were taking a while trying to decide how many, because we had caused a plague, so then we can bid amounts of followers to pretty much win that location. But at that point, there's like 3, 4 more locations that are going to resolve combat. You can possibly have more plagues later on, so we thought for maybe 10 minutes of how many to bid for this specific location.
Everyone wants to play with us now.
Yes, but even with that, not for a second, for me, did I feel like this is dragging. It was so interesting, so many different
really good.
ways to handle it. I just absolutely loved it, and the action selection and the triggering of the different things. You're kind of, if you take a move action, you move the move. It's a shared track. You move it along, and when it gets to the end of that track, then that triggers a movement along another track, which pretty much progresses the end game. I just thought that was a really awesome action selection, awesome combat resolution, awesome game.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's just been a while since I played it, so it did not make my list. But I remember having a lot of fun with it.
I'm just glad it got off the shelf finally.
Gotta
Glad
get
you had
playing.
She
fun
wants
with
it
it.
out of the collection now.
Glad you guys had
We
fun.
could
with
play
it.
it
try
with
it
you
with the
for
merge
the
rule.
third player so that
I am glad you
merge
guys
roll
had fun
can
together.
be in play.
That's
There we go.
great to hear.
There we go.
That always makes me happy. All right, my number 4 is, I think, a 2023 game. So another new Cult of the
Maybe
New.
we could do 2023.
I don't know about that, but this one is Clank Catacombs, which is very fun. We played the Clank Legacy version a few years ago. There's the 3 of us, and we had so much fun. And going back to that Clank board is good. Clank is good, but I feel like Clank Catacombs definitely is like the shakeup that Clank needs, because the map changes. It's not the same every game. The artifacts aren't in the same spot every time. There's kind of some added pieces to it while also still being like pretty much authentically Clank.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this is just a much more playable version for multiple playthroughs of Clank. And so it's just great. I always enjoy Clank because it's just so solid with like the deck building. And then, like, the simplicity of, like, truly going out and doing those actions. So I just think that it's fun without being difficult. But the Clank definitely, as Jessica found out, the Clank definitely will add to the complexity of your game, depending on how brave you are with that noise. So I've just really enjoyed our plays of Clank Catacomb. And I just think it was just exactly what Clank needed. So.
Good choice. My number 3 is one that's been talked about, and it's been talked about twice, and I did count it as a new game this year. Probably could be my one, but I felt since I had played Castles of Burgundy once in a physical form quite a while ago, and then once or twice on the app, I'm like, I can't give it the top spot because I have played it, but I have not played the deluxe version before.
Does
so
the deluxe
kinda
version
counts.
like really add to it, or is there just
Well,
a
we
reason?
played with the Vineyard expansion, which I believe is brand new. So that's
There we go.
with the Vineyard expansion. You didn't. Me and Jesse did.
Oh, well, I was just asking if like the deluxe version brought it to a new level, because if you played Castles of Burgundy one time and then on the app, it might not have made an impression, but now it is.
No, I liked it on those. That's why I got it.
Oh,
I just at that point it was like I was playing like maybe once a year, so I didn't really have like full thoughts on it, but I did like it quite a bit.
okay.
And this deluxe version has just brought it to the next
I
level.
wonder if that ever made your top 10 of the year before.
That's what I'm wondering. Maybe it did.
I feel like it
Ah.
might have been before we started filming Top
It might
10s.
have
It could be. But that's why
It's
you
made
need to
it
go
every
check out
year.
our next
I
10.
played this game my friend Taylor has, so that was your 2020, and then in 2021 I played this app. And it's
Well,
back
you
again.
can go check out our 11 through 20 and then see
Uh-huh.
if you don't count this, you can see what my number 11 is, and that would have been my 10, I guess.
Oh,
And these
okay.
all bump up if you want me to play like that. But no, it's amazing. It was definitely worth it. I know some people don't like the deluxeified version of things, think it's too much, but
Well, you didn't
this
get
one did a
top
great.
tier deluxe fight either,
That's
so
true.
let's
We
get
could've
that
had-
straight.
we could
We
have
did
had
not get that
3D terrain and animals.
of everything. That would have been next level. Could have
Yeah,
done it.
We have some.
He wasn't ready to
self-control.
pull the Terraforming Mars big box trigger yet.
Not quite.
Okay, my number 3. Oh, which one? Yeah, I'll go with this one. This is the smallest game that I have so far. I believe so. This is a verb and verb game. This is a roll and write, and it is with a theme. You have not played it. He has played it. A theme that we don't have anything else of, and that is pinball. This is Super Skill Pinball 4K. And this one, I think Tom Vassell really, really liked it. He loves pinball, and I was like, I don't play pinball, so I don't know if that's attributing to it for him. But it seemed pretty interesting, the gameplay, and I got it and played it, and it was unlike any other verb and verb game. Usually that's just triggering different bonuses and sometimes chaining effects and just get a high score. And this one is trying to get a high score, hundreds and hundreds of points, hopefully. But the aspect that's different is just the survival aspect, which is very pinball-esque of trying to keep your game alive as long as possible. And I think they just really did a great job of bringing that over into a board game. Somehow, who would ever think that you could play pinball in a board game form? But I think, as not a pinball expert at all, that they did a great job. I really feel it every time that ball comes down there. It's like, come on, I gotta hit the flipper, I gotta get it back up there, and get it into the bumpers and bump it around like possibly endlessly. This game could go on forever with how it works as they reset and trigger again and again. And when you can do that and unlock different multipliers throughout the game. I played 2 different maps, and they've been very different from each other. I'm looking forward to the other 2, and possibly even other versions of Super Skill Pinball. I think they have like maybe 1 to 3 other, I think 2 or 3 other versions, which I'm definitely have my eye on now because I have enjoyed this, but should probably play the other 2 maps first.
Yeah, I had fun with that one, but yeah, that was another one I only played once, but I could see really enjoying that one to play it more and more.
Cool. Have to try it sometime, see if it gives you that pinball feel like you say. Not that I'm a big pinballer, but I played it a few times, so.
I've been around.
I've been around.
I was in Pinball Alley in Gen Con.
We did walk through it. Yes, we did not stop to play anything though, did we?
And I saw you eyeing the machines.
Yeah. You got me. All right, well, speaking of Gen Con, my number 3 comes from Gen Con and was a 2023 game again.
Sunrise Lane again?
And there weren't
Wow, you loved it that much?
there weren't many games that I saw and I pointed to and was like, hey, let's get that one. I think you pretty much chose every game, but this one I saw and I think we watched a demo and I was like, let's get that one.
Mega Chips.
And you were like, I don't know about that. And I was like, no, let's get that one. So I was like, I can't believe I had to fight you on this one. No, it wasn't really a fight. I just was more interested than you were.
It was an epic battle.
And I really...
Near the Evertree.
Yeah, near the Evertree. I really have enjoyed it, and that is Sansushi. I think that's how you say it. But it is essentially kind of... Azul-esque, where you get cards that...
Designer of Azul.
Yeah, designer of Azul. You get cards that correspond to different garden feature types, and essentially you're just trying to build a pathway of that type of feature in order to score points accordingly. So I don't know. It's really straightforward and simple, but I feel like it's decent enough where it like makes you kind of pause for a minute to figure out how you're going to get to where you're going to get. It's really straightforward. Definitely probably a filler game, not very hard at all, but I just think it's a good mix of a game to have. I really like it. So, Sansushi.
That is a good choice. That is a good
I was going to
choice.
Google how to say that before we started. So I'm sorry out there if it's Sansuchi or Sensuki,
San-
Vladimir Suchi.
something like that.
I think that's what it is. My number 2 is not from Vladimir Suchi, but it is a Euro game. It's probably medium weight, and I think I'd have to go back and check, but I think this designer and this publishing company had one on my top 10 last year,
Oh boy.
and it is Nova Roma. Last year I think
Ah.
Resurgence was probably on my list. I don't remember. I'd have to go double check. But yeah, Nova Roma. It's a lot of fun. This is probably one of the most recent played, so there might be recency bias in some of these, I would say.
Oh, you did.
But this is one that I've just really, really loved. I like
In your
the
2 playthroughs of it?
I really like how it works. I didn't know if the action selection thing would seem kind of too simple, not really feel like it was that meaningful, but I think it really works, and I think there will be some different feelings from game to game if depending on how those line up, because there are sometimes I could feel so there's like 8 actions in the game, and 4 of them will be kind of on the horizontal axis and some on the vertical axis, and you'll place a worker essentially in that spot, and then you'll take the 2 corresponding actions. So anti-targy or whatever you want to call it, but I think it really works. I like how all the actions around the board work. They're all pretty simple once you know the game. I think it's one that you can teach pretty quickly, even though it seems like there's a good amount going on. I think there will be enough variability in it to play it many times without feeling like the same game every time. It might after like I don't know, 10 plays or something start feeling kind of the same, but I am having a lot of fun with this one, and I think it should have a little bit more recognition. Unfortunately, I don't know.
Is it an older game?
It's from this year.
Oh.
So yeah, I think it was kickstarted at either the beginning of this year or the end of last year. I don't think it did as well as I thought it should have done. A lot of people apparently do not like this cover because the Dice Tower just recently did best covers of 2023, and people were really mocking this cover. You guys let me know in the comments if you're still watching at this point. I would not say it is the best cover of 2023.
I think it'd be better.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the best cover of 2023, but these people, I saw comments and whatever that we're acting like this is the worst cover of all time. I'm like, it is not that bad.
Have you seen the cover of Orleans?
Exactly.
A classic cover, Mac.
Glasgow.
How dare you?
Any work by that artist, really.
Clemens Franz? We're going to have to do a top 10 Clemens Franz.
We will.
Is it possible that
He did Clans, didn't he?
He's got some good ones.
Different
Just some of
The
them are a little,
one that we
little
may have
wonky.
just unboxed, Isle of Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I could tell.
Wow.
I think that he has Clans, right?
I think so.
I think he does Scots quite well.
All right.
That is where he thrives.
He
We'll
does all of
talk.
the
We'll talk about it in the Clemens Franz art ranking.
Yeah.
My number 2 is a crossover in designer with Michaela.
Oh boy.
And this is certainly not a new game this year, but it is right over here. And that is Azul by the designer of Sansuchi, Michael Kiesling. And I just finally played the original Azul. It was the last one in the 4 that are currently out that I actually got around to playing. And I just, even in the first play, I could easily see why this game spawned a franchise and became so iconic. It's in the top 100 games, I'm pretty sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Top 100 games of all time, so recognizable. Just like even the pattern on the tiles. Like if you just showed that to any gamer, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's the Azul pattern. That's the blue tile."
Mhm.
It's just an icon in the hobby, and it deserves to be. It's so satisfying. Just quick, snappy turns, and there's just something about loading up these slots on the left side of your board, filling them up, and shooting them over to the right side, and scoring all the points for the group it's in and what it connects to. It's just so simple. It's a perfect design.
Yeah, I've even had a coworker who doesn't play that many games and knows I do talk about how they have played Azul and
Yeah.
like Azul. So it is, yeah, it's a great game.
Beautiful
I-
game.
This one I did not count on my list because I wasn't sure. I think I might
yeah.
have played it a couple times before, but I don't know when the time. Otherwise, this one would be very high for me.
Treating them differently. Castles of Burgundy and Azul.
I suppose I could. I was gonna say, well, this is a deluxe version, but this is a mini version.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
and it is a
Clearly-
very solid version.
I've-
I say it does it amazingly.
I played the mini and the regular original, so look forward to my number one.
Yeah. All right, my number 2 is a really fun game that we got with the weirdest title of a board game I've
Oh,
probably
that's
seen in a long time, and that
Wasn't
is
Catherine.
that one's kind of weird too. But the Guild of Merchant Explorers is the name of the game. I don't even know how to shorten that. If we just call it the Guild or Merchant Explorers or
Gami? Gome.
Go
To Gome.
Gome.
to go.
To Gome.
And so this game has just been so much fun getting to play. We've only ever played through one map, but there are multiple maps, and there's so much you can do with it. It's kind of, I guess you would call it is it a verb and verb, technically?
Yeah.
Flippin'
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very fun. You're just kind of sprinkling you're trying to get as far out as you can, exploring the world while scoring points for various things. Your cards are limited to, you only have so many rounds, and there's only so many cards, and they're the same pretty much every time except for a special card. And I would feel like it's very thematic because you are going out, you're building trading posts, you're finding treasure, and you're doing all of these things, you're gathering coins for no reason other than just placing a token on that hexagon. And so it's very straightforward, very fun, but I feel like it's not like just simple. You have a lot that you need to build out towards and kind of prepare when you're looking at scoring points. And like I've said, it has multiple maps, which I think makes replayability really great. So the Guild of Merchant Explorers is my number 2.
Yeah, that's a really cool one. It does have that feel of, like a and right game, because you kind of go out, get the treasure, cross it out is usually what you do in those games, but this one, just with the presentation and production, I think it just brings it up a level. It just feels so much cooler going out on this map instead of just crossing little X's out on a paper sheet.
I forget, it doesn't have metal coins, does it?
No.
No, but I think we need to get those.
Oh boy.
Because I think that's the only thing in the game that's not really produced.
Okay.
The coins are good, but it'd be
A
funner to
lot
do
of
that
people
chingle
say
jingle.
that's a bad cover, Mac.
Yeah, I
No,
wouldn't.
it's hidden away.
Okay, I wouldn't say that that's the greatest. It's probably not the strongest
I think in
presentation
person I like it more.
between the name and the cover, but I think the cover color is unique,
Yeah.
so it kind of stays in your brain that way. So you got to give it to him in that way, I guess.
Yeah, that's a solid choice. But my number 1 is not that, unfortunately.
Oh, I can't believe this wasn't even in your top 10.
Might be in
I
this-
would say that maybe people should check out the 11
Yeah,
through
it's-
20.
It's been tough. Usually we can say, oh, that just missed out,
Yeah.
and there have been a few times when I want to say it, but I don't want to spoil my 11 through 20 extra
Yes.
games wish list. Not wish list.
Let's say if we're not counting Castles of Burgundy, then this one would be quite high on my 11 through 20 still. It would not quite have made it either, but it would have been
Okay.
very high.
Well, let's hear this number 1.
My number 1
now
has
I'm
been
intrigued.
has been mentioned by you
Oh.
before.
Oh, really?
It is the second
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Cult of the Shem.
Yep.
Or what did you think it was? Did
Nope, I forgot that you hadn't said it yet.
This is Wayfarers of the
waiting
South
for it.
Tigris. So they have made up 2 of my top 4 spots. I really love both of these games, and this one just kind of the panoramic that you're making, where you are adding kind of a bottom level and then going above it and having space and stuff. Oh boy, I love the artwork in this one. It's kind of a new thing that new thing, something that Miko has.
It's a new thing
done.
he's discovered.
It's a new thing that Miko has discovered. He had never done something like this before.
Innovative,
A
iconic.
very innovative thing that he's doing. No, he just. I think it seemed like he was testing out new art styles that he hadn't really done, at least in games I've played. Maybe he has stuff like that, but I thought the art really sets it apart, kind of from some of the other Garfield games. Not the art is bad in any of the ones. It just, I wouldn't say they stand out and are like, oh, all-time great art. And this one, I think, could be in the conversation, closer to the conversation. Not all-time great, but more in the conversation than the others.
Okay, all right. Moving
But
along.
but then the rest of the mechanisms of the game are really, really solid.
Did you just notice?
Oh, I noticed
Oh,
that. I
okay.
was just waiting for a time to point it out.
All right.
Wow. All the other stuff is really solid. I would say the only thing I'm maybe a little disappointed in is, since this is a dice trilogy, the use of the dice is not as interesting as I would like. It works.
Because you roll them like one time?
It works, but yeah, it's not as fun as I would like. Dice-wise, it's not as fun. But I love everything about the game. The dice do work. It does work. It just isn't like, when I think of dice games, I'm like, I want to roll these dice quite a decent amount. And that's just not happening in this game, and that's fine.
You could roll them more if you weren't so good.
I guess I could just take a pass turn every time and just roll them every time. That could be good.
Oh,
That might
I'm
be
all
a fine,
for it.
fine thing. But no, everything in this game, I love setting out, getting extra points, trying to, like you said, get the set collection of the different types. Just a lot of fun. And going up that Lost Ruins of Arnak track, I think works pretty well. The ink track thing, where you're having to meet certain requirements. I think that works pretty well in the game as well. And yeah, this is probably one of my most played on this list. It might be, I don't know, it might be my most played. We actually played it quite a bit for being a longer, heavier
you?
Euro game.
Did you play Ultimate Railroads before this year?
I
Played
did.
it once online.
Once
which
online.
Obviously eliminates it from consideration.
I see. Okay.
I do like that one quite a bit too, but that was another one that I don't know. I still wasn't sure. And then that's Ultimate Railroads, but it's also Russian
Well, we've
Railroads.
only
We didn't
played the
really.
Russian version of
I
it,
don't know.
yeah.
I didn't know how to put that. I like that one quite a bit. That one maybe could have made my list, but
Okay.
I was not counting it, I guess.
That's
Did you just bring that up because you were hoping we'd cross over at number one?
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear your number one now.
You got me. Let's hear Jesse's first.
Okay. This one, not. I was thinking this could be my.
Oh wait, I forgot. Hers is Cthulhu.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
right.
Don't forget.
She should probably go next then. Oh well. My number one is a campaign game. One of the two that we've had ongoing in the past few months, and I already
way.
mentioned.
We
White
played
Island.
this before.
We did play this, the introductory
I didn't
scenario,
know you liked
one
it that
time.
much.
This is Mechs versus Minions, which I can't get that box. It's way over there and it's gigantic, but it would be about this big and it would cover your head, Mac. But I just absolutely love this. It's a phenomenal production. That will get you like 5 points out of my 10 score there just for that. But it's such an easy setup too. The insert's fantastic, and gameplay is just so crazy and wacky as you are programming your mechs by drafting cards and putting them into your command line of slots, like 6 slots, and you can put them in there in any order, but once they're there, they are stuck there unless you can manipulate it with other cards, and they're very simple abilities on the cards, so as you play through it, you get to know what each card does, and it's either a move forward, a rotate, or an attack, and there's 4 different colors, and each one has different variations of those actions. But as you just kind of place these in there, you start out, and your mech's not really doing much. Not doing much good, maybe just turning around, staying in the starting spot pretty much for the first few rounds, possibly. That was me in our first game. But then as it gets going, and you get more and more in control of your mech, and you just start taking out loads of minions. There's 100 miniatures in the box, and you can go through all of them in some of the missions, where they just keep spawning, You just keep running them over and killing them. It's so satisfying. I don't know if usually games have you battling one big bad, and this one you get to battle just a ton of little minions. I always want to say miniatures, but they are awesome miniatures, and that's just a lot of fun. You take damage from them if they get next to you, and I feel like that's really cool how that happens, and it could even possibly help you as you slot it into your command line and it's doing something that you didn't decide to put there, but maybe it could possibly help you out or really hurt you. Great game. I don't think that's going to be a crossover.
Well, you already said it's number one.
Judging, even in, like, if he did his top maybe 50, 60 games, I don't think it would be a crossover. How many games did you play new this year?
Yeah, like 60, 70 games.
So maybe if we did top 80, it might cross over.
Oh, boy.
Watch our review if that's posted anytime soon.
It was fine. If you like that style of game, I think it's going to deliver what you want. But I was just not the biggest fan of it. It didn't work for me.
Yeah, I think programming.
And you can probably, if you're looking at my top 5 games here, or pretty much the whole thing, you're knowing I'm more of a Euro gamer and medium to heavyweight Euro gamer. So you know what you're getting with this.
Is it replayable?
It is replayable. You can pick and choose any missions that you want to play, and play those individually. And
Oh.
yeah, yep.
Gotcha.
So you might have to try it, Maggie. You might like it.
Pass.
Yeah. Gotta try it once, Mac.
Pass. Okay, my number one, we're throwing it all the way back to this, Cthulhu, no, just kidding, never. This game that has been super popular for a very long time. I'm just sad it took me so long to get this game, and that is a game that Jesse's already mentioned, and it is Azul.
Came in like a wrecking ball.
When I saw the mini was coming out, I was like, babe, we have got to get the mini version because we've got the Pavilion on our shelf. At the time, we had Stained Glass of Sintra on our shelf. I was like, look, it's mini. It won't take up as much space. Comes with this cute little bag. I said, I don't know anything about the game, but let's try it. And I think we had played it. We played it on BGA first, and I learned it there. And I was like, this is so great. And then we got the mini version, which is so cute, and I love it. It's so authentic Azul I see now, where all of the other Azul versions have stemmed from with this. It definitely feels like a one-trick pony a little bit, with the core piece being the best piece of it. But this one I feel like does the best action with the tokens that you take out of all of them. So I've loved Azul so much this year, and I'm definitely feeling like it's going to end up in like my top games of all time kind of vibe. So I just couldn't be happier with Azul. So glad I learned it this year, and sad I didn't learn it sooner. So Azul, my number one.
Yeah, it's crazy how just like so far into our gaming careers, we are still getting back to, we have so many games to get back
to the basics.
And just the classics that we haven't yet tried. Feel like we've touched most of them. That was probably the biggest one that we still hadn't gotten to.
Yeah.
And they are known for a reason.
Exactly.
It's beautiful.
Good choice. Great choice. It's an awesome game.
I love it.
So you got 2 Kiesling games in your top 4. Wow.
Yeah.
Big hit for you.
I love Sand Sushi and Azul. I'd play them all the time if you guys would let me. But you want to play things like, what is it? Scholars of
I
the
can't
South
even
Tigris
say it.
and
It's so terrible.
Sky Team. And, oh, no, just kidding.
Wow. But yeah, that's our top 10 new to us games this year. Let us know in the comments below what your top 10 are, what your top game is of the year. Whether it be 2023 release or an older one like Azul. Which classic did you get, classic and modern classic, did you get back to and maybe learn this year that you're like, wow, I've been missing out for a few years. But otherwise, check out our giveaway video, and we hope to see you there. And as always, don't forget to
Keep on nibbling
on our content.